Welcome along to my rankings from the 2025 Las Vegas Grand Prix. In this series, we rank all 20 drivers after the weekend and rank them from best to worst. If you want to see more of this series, please make sure to hit the like button and subscribe. Let's do this. Starting off with Oscar Piastri. Now, I'm not going to really do the disqualification part of the weekend because it's out of the driver's control, and if I do, I'd probably give him a 0, but it's not his fault whatsoever. It's the team that mucked him up. But anyway, Piastri's weekend. Really good weekend. Okay, not really good, but he had a good weekend. Not the best qualifying, had decent race pace when he was actually in clean air. Finished 7 seconds off his teammate, but to be fair, he was managing, obviously lifting and coasting, and now we know why he was lifting and coasting, because he was trying to save the plank wear. But good weekend for Oscar Piastri. Not his best, not his worst. Going to give him a 6 out of 10. Next up, Lando Norris, who also got disqualified. Both McLarens got disqualified. I still can't believe that to this current hour of the day. But started pole, not bad. Not bad, really good, I should say. And was P2 in the race. Did kind of muck up the start, but limited the damage very nicely. But I did not expect the McLaren to be anywhere near as competitive as it was, quite frankly. So I'm going to give Lando an 8.5 out of 10. A good weekend from the Brit. Next up, Lance Stroll, who had a bit of an unlucky weekend in my opinion. He got a bit unlucky in qualifying. I think he made a little mistake in qualifying, or he had a flag or something. I have no idea what happened, but in the race, got taken out by Gabriel Bortoleto. Not his fault whatsoever. So, yeah, not much Stroll could do this weekend. I'm going to give him a 4 out of 10. This is probably a bit too harsh because I think Stroll actually had some really good pace this weekend. Moving on to Gabriel Bortoleto, and this is probably one of the worst weekends I think I've ever seen from a driver. Started 18th and then just completely took Stroll out of the race. Got a 10-second penalty, which will be a 5-place grid penalty for Qatar, which is next week. But still, horrible weekend for Gabriel Bortoleto. I'm going to give him a 1.5 out of 10. It's probably a bit too harsh. Probably could have given him a 2 or 2.5. But if you took someone out like he did, I think you deserve to be severely ranked down. Moving on to Alex Albon, who had a very underwhelming weekend. He was very far off his teammate in both qualifying and the race. Just really bad, really, from Alex Albon, not much really to say. So I'm going to give him a 3 out of 10, just very far off his teammate in terms of pace. Moving on to Colapinto, our first finisher of the Grand Prix. There's not much really to say, really. Colapinto, the Alpine is just dreadful. It's a tractor, it's a boat, whatever you want to call it. But Gasly's just getting the maximum out of the car, so Colapinto, I'm not going to blame too much. I think it's the car that's really mainly holding him back. So I'm going to give him a 3 out of 10. This could have been higher, but I think a 3 is fair. Moving on to Liam Lawson, who had a good weekend up until the race where he just completely barged into Oscar Piastri at the start, which obviously lost Piastri some positions. Didn't get a penalty, weirdly, which I don't really understand, but it is what it is. But yeah, very unlucky weekend. Could have been a lot better. Qualifying was brilliant. Race, not so brilliant. Going to give Lawson a 5 out of 10. Just average overall. Good qualifying, bad race. Moving on to Pierre Gasly, and this man is just over-delivering in this absolute tractor of a car. To be honest with you, you've got P10 in qualifying. To be fair, it did kind of happen, it was raining, but you've got to do what you've got to do in those conditions. And then the race kind of just slipped back. Finished P13. But I think that's the best he could have done, really. So I'm going to give Gasly a 6.5 out of 10. A good weekend from the Frenchman. Moving on to Yuki Tsunoda, and this man got a bit unlucky this weekend. Red Bull even admitted themselves they mucked up with Tsunoda's car with the tyre pressures. Qualified 19th. The race pace I don't think was terrible, but was just stuck behind other cars. Not much really to say. Going to give Yuki a 4 out of 10. I've decided to go a bit higher because nothing was really out of his control. The team just mucked him up, basically. Moving on to Fernando Alonso, who a good weekend once again from Alonso. Obviously, could have out of the race, but I think that's just where the Aston Martin is. at this moment in time. I just don't think the Aston's that competitive, quite frankly. So, going to give Alonso a 7 out of 10. Think outside weekend, considering that car was pretty dreadful. Moving on to our first man in the top 10, Ollie Behrman. Another good weekend from him. Did get outpaced by his teammate though, which isn't great, but you know, you can't beat your teammate every week. Well, unless you're Verstappen or Alonso, who've got easier teammates, but yeah, decent weekend for Behrman. Gonna give him a 6.5 out of 10. Now that I think about this, it's probably a bit too low, but yeah, to be fair, he did kind of get outpaced by his teammates, so I think this is about right. Maybe could have been one higher. Next up, Esteban Ocon, who had a very underrated weekend, in my opinion. Outpaced his teammate the whole weekend pretty much, and got some points. It's where the Betterman, double points of the team. That's really on the up at the end of this season, but for Ocon, I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10. I could have gave him potentially one higher maybe, but I think a 7 is about right. Moving on to Lewis Hamilton, who, yeah, not great. I mean, he did finish 8th, which was a decent recovery, but still, he shouldn't be starting last in a Ferrari. I don't know if that was the team's fault, if he just did not feel comfortable in the car whatsoever, but yeah, it's not a good weekend from Hamilton. I'm going to give him a 5 out of 10. You could argue this could have been lower, but I think his race was pretty decent. Next up, Nico Hülkenberg. Another good weekend from him in the Sauber. I think the Sauber was pretty decent this weekend, and Hülkenberg, I think, got the maximum, or more than the maximum he could this weekend. So I'm going to give him an 8 out of 10. A good weekend from the German. Next up, Isaac Hadjar. Another great weekend from him. This man's just too good. I mean, P6, and he's probably not going to get a good of a rating. That's just proof how much potential one he has, 2, how underrated he is, 3, what the expectations are of him at the moment. So I'm going to give Hadjar an 8 out of 10. He has been probably rookie of the season by a mile. Next up, Carlos Sainz, who just had a flawless weekend, really outpaced his team in both qualifying and the race. Got P3 in a Williams. P5 in the race, did drop back, but to be honest with you, I don't think the Williams was ever going to be in contention for a podium if it was dry. So, good weekend for Sainz. I'm going to have to give him a 10 out of 10. A flawless weekend from the Spaniard. Next up, Charles Leclerc. A pretty good recovery drive from his disastrous qualifying. Not much really to say. These decent results, some decent points. Limits the damage to Mercedes pretty nicely. So I'm going to give Leclerc a 7 out of 10. A very good weekend from Leclerc. Next up, Kimi Antonelli. Wow. 17th to P3 in his rookie season. This man is going to be special in the future. He's going to be a world champion. I think he probably is already going to be a world champion. I think a lot of other rookies, but we're going to say that for another video. But what a weekend from Antonelli. I know he did have the better qualifyings, so I have to drop him down a point for that, but his race was flawless apart from obviously the penalty, which I thought was a little bit harsh, to be honest with you. But great weekend from Kimi. Going to give him a 9 out of 10. He definitely made up for his bad qualifying. Next up, my man George Russell. Another good weekend from George Russell. Did have some problems this weekend. Had some steering issues, which probably cost him maybe a front row maybe, and maybe cost him the win. I'm not going to speculate. I'm just saying the truth maybe. I don't know. But a good weekend from George Russell. I'm going to give him a 9.5 out of 10. Just maximised the car when he needed to. And last but not least, we've got Max Verstappen. Another good weekend from him. Obviously, won the Grand Prix. Obviously, a great weekend. Got P2 in qualifying. Maybe could have got pole, but to be honest with you, I think the McLaren was in another league, especially Norris in that car. I think Norris was in another planet in terms of pace in the rain. But in the dry, I think the Red Bull was very good, and I think Verstappen did make the most of Norris' mistake. He kind of forced him into the mistake, and that's what got him the win. So, got to give him credit for that. So I'm going to give him a 10 out of 10. A flawless weekend once again from Verstappen. That's the end of my rankings for the 2025 Las Vegas Grand Prix. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please like and subscribe. My next video will be my predictions for the Qatar Grand Prix. So can't wait for that one. And I'll see you guys for that. Bye.